Hey, everybody, welcome. Good morning to Coffee with John with Sari Cicurel. We're talking PR all week. Sari, I'm looking forward to this 5-part series every morning. Sari, I've known you. I know I've said this. You've been on the show a bunch. You were one of my first 4 guests on my Think Business podcast. And we go way back through Federation and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. I've always loved your work. You have gotten me all of my TV spots. I'm very grateful for all of that. And I want to talk PR because I think sometimes people don't understand PR. And if I go back to, 20, 30 years, PR kind of was something that you did when times were bad. And today, in my opinion, I want your opinion because you're the specialist, PR is something you do in good times, bad times, and all times.
All times, yep.
All times, right. And so I think people don't necessarily know exactly what PR is. And so I kind of want to start there this week. Can you kind of define what it is and why people need it?
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point, especially coming off that post-pandemic and going into a new time. So PR is telling your story. That's how I like to define it. It's your message. So if you're a single person and that's, what you're selling per se, then it's telling who you are. If you're a product, then you're communicating your message through the media being, and that has changed over the years, media being the traditional forms, TV, radio, and print, but media today can be social influencers, social media, blogging, and all the non-traditional. And it's different than marketing. Marketing plays a part of it, but public relations is really messaging your story and getting it out there. And so there are different forms of PR. Sometimes you are in a crisis PR situation, but you're most often you're in the positive.
Yeah.
And that's why you always need to be telling your message and your story. And, I think that you hit on something that people don't realize, that you need to be doing it all the time. I think the fear was that it was cost prohibitive. And I think that I've always tried to get that message out there, that there are lots of people in lots of cities across the country who can help you.
Yeah.
And at different levels of price range.
Yeah. Yeah. I love what you're talking about. Telling your story is important. I mean, today people have a less attention span than a goldfish, which is less than 7 seconds. Today, people, I think, have more distractions. And I think through this decade, there will be more distractions as there is so much change. COVID accelerated that change, but pre-COVID studies were saying that by the year 2030, 85% of the jobs that exist don't exist today. So we were already in a decade of adapting and pivoting and evolving and massive innovation. And so when it comes to telling your story, I agree with you. It's something you have to tell over and over and over again, or people forget. And so my question to you is, delayed versus instant gratification. I think a lot of times people want, hey, I got a TV spot, my phone should be ringing off the hook. Hey, I got I was quoted in the Wall Street Journal. Hey, my phone should be ringing off the hook. But you repurpose that information. So can you talk a little bit about kind of the 1 minute Reader's Digest version of how you repurpose that information and be grounded in delayed gratification when it comes to PR?
Yeah, I always love when I do a media segment and the phone rings, and there's no guarantee. And so that's always wonderful. But I always say to my clients that you post it that day, but don't just post it once. Think about how to reuse that information, especially when it's not time-stamped. It's one thing if you do a segment or a print article because it's an event, an exhibit, But when it's not, it's just good content about what you do,
Yeah.
then how do you reuse it? And, I love when this morning in particular, I looked at a client on her Instagram. She did a segment 2 weeks ago. She had the information back out there because it was about stress and handling stress. We're all handling stress. That has no time limit.
Right.
So she's reusing her segment that she did on Fox 2, and she's taking clips out of it. And again, it really qualifies her as an expert because she was on TV,
Yeah.
and she's able to do that. So you really do need to always be repurposing your information because you're not always going to get a media segment every week. I don't care how good you are.
Yeah.
TV, radio, they have to rotate people. I don't care how good I am or one of my colleagues. They have to keep.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Sari, I love talking to you. I love everything branding, PR, storytelling, marketing, all that. We're going to talk all week. We're going to pick up tomorrow and talk about how you can use PR to grow your business through referrals. But before we go, tell everybody how they can connect with you and who your ideal client is.
I work with a lot of different people. So I know you always ask me my ideal client. My ideal client is someone who wants to always work hard and get their message out.
Yeah.
I want to work with someone who is motivated. I work 24/7. And so that's who I want to work with. The best thing to do is go to my website, learn more about me, because working with a public relations agent is got to be a two-way street and fit. My email is sari.cicurel@gmail, and my website is sarimcicurel.com.
Yeah.
And it's on the screen because you're so great.
Sari, I appreciate you being on the show. Great wisdom today. Think community, thanks for tuning in. If Sari can help you, it's worth at minimum a phone call. Thanks everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
We will.
Thanks, Sari. Thanks everybody.